My name is Lily. I am 27 years old. I live in a small town near the mountains. My life is not easy. Every morning I wake up with fear. Every night I cry in silence. I want to leave this life, but I don't know where to go. When I was a little girl, my world was happy. My mother sang to me at night. She cooked warm food and kissed my forehead before bed. My father worked at a bakery. He brought home sweet bread and smiled when he saw me. I had one little brother. His name was Max. He was kind and always followed me everywhere. But when I was 9 years old, everything changed. One morning, my father left home and never came back. We waited for hours, then days, then weeks. My mother cried every night. I was too young to understand. People said my father had run away with another woman. My mother never believed it. She sat at the window every day, waiting. Then, 2 years later, my mother got sick. She became very thin. Her skin turned pale. She stopped smiling. She did not have the strength to cook or clean. I started doing everything. Washing clothes, cooking simple food, taking care of Max. I was only 11, but I felt like a mother. One night, my mother called me to her bed. She took my hand and said, "Lily, you are strong. Take care of your brother. Be brave." That was the last thing she ever said to me. The next morning, she was gone. After that, everything got worse. An uncle came to take care of us. He was my father's brother. His name was Robert. At first, he seemed okay. He brought food. He paid the rent. He told us to go to school. But soon, Robert changed. He started drinking every day. He got angry fast. He shouted at us for small things. If Max dropped a spoon, Robert screamed. If I came home late, he threw things at the wall. One night, he slapped me. I was so scared I couldn't sleep. The next day, he acted like nothing happened. I wanted to run away, but I had no place to go. I was just a child. I didn't know anyone outside my small town. I didn't have money or friends. I stayed for Max. He was only 8. He needed me. Years passed. I learned how to stay quiet. I cooked food before Robert came home. I kept the house clean. I didn't speak unless he asked me something. I learned how to survive. When I turned 16, I met a boy named Alex. He worked at the small store near my school. He had light brown eyes and a soft voice. He always said hello. One day he gave me a candy and said, "You look sad. Are you okay?" I wanted to cry, but I just nodded. Alex started waiting for me outside school. We talked about little things, books, music, dreams. He told me he wanted to travel. He said he hated the town and wanted to see the world. I told him I wanted the same. He smiled and said, "Then come with me." At first I was scared, but I wanted to be free. I wanted to feel safe. I told Max I would come back for him. I left a note under his pillow. Then, one cold evening, I left Robert's house and ran to Alex. Alex lived in a small room behind the store. It wasn't big, but it felt like heaven. He made me tea. He gave me a warm blanket. He told me I was safe now. I believed him. For a few weeks, I was happy. We walked in the fields. We watched the stars. We talked about the future. I thought I had found love. But one day, Alex lost his job. He started getting angry. He sat at home all day drinking beer. He said I didn't understand his pain. He said I was lucky to have him. Then one night he pushed me. I fell and hit my head. He said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." I believed him. I didn't want to go back to Robert. I had nowhere else to go. But Alex did it again and again. He became just like Robert, shouting, breaking things, calling me names. I felt small. I felt weak. but I stayed. I thought maybe I could fix him. I thought maybe he would change. When I turned 18, I found out I was pregnant. I was scared, but also happy. I thought, maybe this will change him. Maybe he will love the baby and stop drinking. But Alex didn't stop. He got worse. When I told him I was pregnant, he threw a glass at the wall and said, "Are you trying to trap me?" I cried all night. I wanted to leave, but I had no money, no home, no one to help. One night, he hit me so hard I could not stand. I lay on the floor, holding my belly. I was scared for my baby. The next day, I went to the local clinic. The nurse looked at me and said, "You need help." She gave me a card with the name of a women's shelter. That night, while Alex was asleep, I packed a small bag and left. The shelter was in another town. It was a quiet place with 10 other women. Some had children. Some had black eyes. Some had broken hearts. But they were all like me, looking for peace. I stayed at the shelter until my baby was born, a little boy. I named him Noah. He had my eyes and dark hair. I held him and cried. I whispered, "I will never let anyone hurt you." Life was not easy, but I worked hard. The shelter helped me find a job at a bakery. I made bread in the morning and came back to feed Noah in the evening. I lived in a small room with 1 bed, 1 table, and 2 chairs. It was simple, but it was mine. For a while, I felt strong. I smiled more. I took Noah to the park. I read books at night. I didn't think about Alex or Robert. I tried to forget the past. But then, one day, Alex found me. I was walking home from the bakery. I heard a voice behind me. "Lily!" I turned. My heart stopped. It was him. He looked tired. His clothes were dirty. He smelled like alcohol. He smiled and said, "I missed you." I didn't speak. I didn't move. He said, "I changed. I don't drink anymore. I want to see my son." I said, "No." He grabbed my arm. "Please, just once." I pulled away and ran. That night, I couldn't sleep. I held Noah close. I locked the door. I cried in silence. I was afraid again. I went to the police the next day. I told them everything. They said they would help, but I still felt scared. Since that day, I live with fear again. I look over my shoulder. I check the doors twice. I don't let Noah out of my sight. I don't know if Alex will come back. I don't know if he will try to take my baby. I want to be free. I want to feel safe again. But I don't know how. I still go to work. I still smile for Noah. But inside, I feel broken. Some nights I cry when he sleeps. I whisper, "I'm sorry. I wish I was stronger. I don't know what the future will bring, but I hold on to one hope, that one day I will not be afraid anymore. Some days I feel strong. Other days, I feel like I'm falling apart. I try to be a good mother. Every morning, I make breakfast for Noah. He loves toast with honey. He laughs when I make funny faces with his food. His smile gives me hope. But inside, I am still scared. I always check the windows. I always look behind me when I walk home. I moved to a new room in the shelter, but I don't feel safe. I still hear Alex's voice in my head. I see his face in my dreams. I wake up with my heart beating fast. One day, the shelter manager asked me, "Lily, do you want to see a counselor?" I said no at first. I didn't want to talk about the past. I thought talking would make the pain stronger. But a week later, I said yes. Her name was Julia. She had kind eyes and a soft voice. She asked me about my life. I told her everything, from my father to Robert to Alex. She didn't cry. She didn't look shocked. She just listened. She said, "You are brave, Lily. You survived. You are still here. No one ever said that to me before. We met every week. I started to feel lighter, like I was not alone. I learned that it was not my fault. I learned that love is not pain. I learned that I deserve peace. Noah turned 2 years old. He was walking and talking. He called me mama and kissed my cheek every night. He loved to sing. He danced in circles when I played music. He made the world bright again. One afternoon, I was working in the bakery when a customer walked in. He was tall, with dark hair and kind eyes. He ordered coffee and smiled. The next day, he came again. And again. After a week, he said, "Hi, my name is Daniel." I said, "I'm Lily." He smiled. "I like your smile." I looked down. I wasn't used to compliments. I didn't know what to say. He didn't push. He didn't ask questions. He just came in every day, bought coffee, and talked to me about small things, books, rain, songs on the radio. One day he asked, "Can I walk you home?" I froze. My heart said no. My fear said run. But something deep inside me said, maybe it's okay. I said, "Just to the corner." He walked beside me, not too close, not too far. He said, "You're strong. I don't know your story, but I see it in your eyes." I smiled. "Thank you." For the first time in years, I felt warm. Over time, Daniel became a part of my life. Slowly, carefully. He brought books for Noah. He helped me carry groceries. He never touched me without asking. He never raised his voice. He said, "Love is not control. Love is safety." I didn't believe in love before, but maybe, I thought, maybe it can be real. Still, I was afraid. One night, Daniel invited me and Noah to a small park for a picnic. We sat on a blanket. The sun was soft, the sky pink. Noah laughed and chased butterflies. Daniel looked at me and said, "You don't have to be scared anymore." I'm not him. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust. But it's hard when your heart has so many scars. That night I had a dream. I saw myself as a little girl holding Max's hand. We were standing in the dark, looking for light. Then I saw Noah, smiling, holding a candle. I woke up crying. The next day, I called Max. We hadn't spoken in years. He was now 21 and working in another city. When he answered the phone, I couldn't speak. I just cried. He said, "Lily, is that you?" I said, "I'm sorry. I left you. I should have come back." He said, "You did what you had to do. I missed you." We talked for an hour. He told me he was okay. He forgave me. He said, "I always knew you loved me. You saved me by saving yourself." I hung up and felt peace for the first time in a long time. Weeks passed. Daniel was still kind. Noah was growing fast. I started to feel strong again. Then one day I got a letter. It was from Alex. He wrote, "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I want to see my son." I didn't reply. I showed the letter to the shelter staff. They said they would help me talk to a lawyer. I was afraid again, but I didn't cry. I looked at Noah and said, "I will protect you." I kept the letter in a box. I did not tell Daniel, but Daniel saw my face. He asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, but I will be." That night, I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw someone I didn't recognize, not a victim, not a girl who ran away. I saw a woman. The next morning, I spoke to a lawyer. I asked about my rights. I told them everything. They said I could ask for full custody. They said I had a strong case. I felt nervous, but also proud. I told Daniel everything that night, about the letter, about Alex, about my fear. He held my hand and said, "Whatever happens, I'm here." I believed him. 1 month later, I stood in a small courtroom. Alex didn't come. His lawyer did. They asked questions. I answered with a strong voice. I had papers, photos, proof. The judge listened. After 2 hours, the judge said, "Full custody goes to Lily." I cried. Not from sadness, from relief. When I came home, Noah ran to me. I picked him up and said, "We're safe now." That night, I burned the letter. Days turned into months. I moved out of the shelter into a small apartment. It had 2 rooms and a tiny kitchen, but it was ours. I painted the walls yellow. I put flowers by the window. I started to feel like I had a real home. Daniel came to visit often. He never rushed me. He said, "I'll wait until you're ready." One evening, we sat on the porch. Noah was sleeping. The stars were bright. Daniel said, "Lily, I love you. Not because of your past, but because of who you are now." I cried, not from fear, from love. I said, "I love you too." It wasn't a fairy tale. Life was still hard. I worked 2 jobs. I had nightmares sometimes. I still checked the locks every night, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I started writing my story. I wanted to help other women. I wanted to say, "You are not alone. You are strong. You can survive." I gave talks at the shelter. I held hands with women who cried like I once did. I said, "There is hope. Look at me." I didn't forget the past, but I didn't live in it anymore. Now, I live for today. I live for Noah's laugh, for fresh bread in the morning, for sunsets with Daniel, for quiet nights and warm blankets.